Course 23, the 23rd course held at the NATO Defense College, took place in the spring of 1963. The story begins at the Trocadero by the statue of Marshal Foch, Supreme Allied Commander in World War I and himself a former student at France's Ecole Militaire. It was here that 4 NATO officers met for the first time in the sunshine of a spring morning. They were a representative group, 3 service officers from NATO countries in America and Europe, and 1 civil servant from Belgium. The group is on its way to the NATO Defense College. They first have to brave the hazards of the Paris traffic. Then cross the esplanade of the Palais de Chaillot, built just before World War II, to house the Paris exhibition of 1937. The layout of this part of Paris is magnificent, with its stately buildings, its open gardens, its fountains, and its view of the Eiffel Tower. Now they're crossing the Champ de Mars, where the imperial armies of France paraded back in the days of the first Napoleon. This vast open space has miraculously survived the encroachments of a rapidly expanding building industry, which has engulfed many other traditional beauty spots of the City of Light. This is the Ecole Militaire, where the NATO Defense College has its headquarters. It is here that thousands of French officers have done their military training. It is here that today 60 senior officers and civilians from 15 NATO nations are gathered, to use the words of General Eisenhower, to meet a high priority requirement to develop individuals both on the military and civilian side who will have a thorough grasp of the many complicated factors which are involved in the problem of creating an adequate defense for the North Atlantic Treaty area. Here is Course 23 during a coffee break. Our 4 friends are meeting for the first time, men who will be their companions day after day for 6 long months. The college was founded back in 1951. The French government made available the artillery wing of the Ecole Militaire, and on the 19th of November 1951, the NATO Defense College, possibly the most ambitious international educational establishment in history, opened its first course. Since that date, nearly 100 graduates a year have been emerging to fill key positions within NATO. The aims of the course cover problems of common defense, the preparation and conduct of NATO forces for war, and the teaching of NATO's 2 official languages, English and French. Here is a French lesson. Every modern gadget is used to simplify the task of learning languages.
Là-bas à droite, en face de la pharmacie.
Astoria est près de l'étoile.
Astoria est près de l'étoile.
L'Astoria est près de
L'Astoria est
l'étoile.
près de l'étoile.
Astoria est près de l'étoile.
Une pharmacie près
Est-ce qu'il y
d'ici.
a une pharmacie près d'ici?
Est-ce qu'il y a une pharmacie?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
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 Comment y allez-vous?
J'y vais en autobus.
J'y vais en autobus.
En autobus.
J'y vais en autobus.
But languages form only part of the college curriculum. Individual study is encouraged, and the college has a fine technical and historical library, including books of engravings such as this one being examined by our Canadian colonel.
For the last 3 weeks, as you know, we have been discussing...
The students break up into discussion groups. These range from economics to collective finance, and from military strategy to methods of air defense, like this discussion group under the chairmanship of Colonel Oldfield of the United Kingdom.
Now, in the 3rd week of these inter-service discussions, we're dealing with the Air Force. The object being to show our brother officers in the committee the particular problems we have in the nuclear battle in the various fields. We've discussed so far the role of the tactical air forces and the tactical nuclear weapons. Today we're going to talk about air defense forces and space.
Gentlemen, 2 days ago, last Monday, I briefed you on the Tactical Air Forces and air transport. We had a very interesting question period, and I do hope the discussion will be just as interesting today.
We could discuss missiles and air defense against missiles, but you recognize that today there is no good defense system that has been designed by the Western powers, or we believe by the Russians, against ballistic missiles. It doesn't make any difference whether you're trying to destroy airplanes or ballistic missiles. These tasks remain the same, and it doesn't make any difference whether it's in North America or Europe. It's all the same.
Paul, in the question of identification, I can appreciate that it's possible for a manned interceptor to identify a target, that is an incoming enemy aircraft or missile. Is it possible for a missile to identify an enemy aircraft or missile?
Well, all I know about that is the work that has been done on the new Nike Zeus anti-missile missile system. And in the experimental stages of that, one of the problems has been discrimination. In other words, they contend that they can send over dummy missiles and shoot them out in different directions, and you must get the live warheads. And they say that this problem has been solved, so that once you commit yourself with another missile, such as this anti-missile missile, it is possible to identify the live target. We do not have a system in being yet in any country where this is perfected.
And here's the commandant of the college, General Umberto De Martino of Italy. He's talking to General Lassen of Federal Germany, his land deputy.
We will start on Sunday morning from Le Bourget.
It is General Lassen who briefed General De Martino and the senior members of his staff on a tour of NATO establishments in the Mediterranean area.
Which will be of great interest for the members of the college. On the next day, we have in the morning the lectures given by the High Command in Malta, and in the afternoon we intend to go to
There are
Ankara.
General Coulter,
Ankara, we will
Commodore
see
Howarth, Royal Navy,
in order to have the
and
lectures
Minister Fedho
from
of France.
Turkish national speakers, and in the afternoon of the same day, the lectures on Centaur.
Very well, and tell me, how long are we going to stay in Italy?
In Italy, we will have 3 days at Naples and 3 days at Rome. That makes 6 days together.
This time we are not going to visit Izmir.
Unfortunately not. The time is too short in order to do this.
I think that's for special reason we are not going to visit Portugal, but next time we will go.
We will, yes, sir. The whole trip the college will make on Britannia, belonging to the Royal Air Force Transport Command.
And so, in a Britannia of the Royal Air Force Transport Command, the party flies south over the Alps. Their first sight of Malta, the George Cross Island, is from the air. Malta is the headquarters of NATO's Mediterranean Command. It's also an island rich in Carthaginian and Roman remains. There's no lovelier panorama than Valletta seen from the high cliffs overlooking the harbor. And so on to Ankara, where this massive monument to Ataturk stands on a hill overlooking the city. Every NATO party visits this monument and pays homage to the founder of modern Turkey. The Turkish army is the largest European army east of the Atlantic, and it guards the Turco-Soviet frontier, so vital to the defense of the Western world. This is Istanbul, for centuries the crossroads between East and West, with its minarets and its mosques where men may not enter without wearing slippers. And on to the Bosphorus, that vital waterway between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. with its castles and palaces and its deep blue waters, not entirely oblivious of the need for defense against underwater attack. This is the barrage that divides the west from the east, the Bosphorus from the Black Sea. From Turkey to Greece, Athens, fountainhead of Western civilization. Modern Greece entered NATO after the crushing of a communist attempt to take over the country. The Greeks appreciate the value of collective security. Naples, headquarters of NATO's Southern Command. It was here that General de Martino inspected a guard of honor made up of units from the countries responsible for the defense of the Mediterranean. Sink South, the commander-in-chief of Southern Europe, controls all NATO troops in Turkey, Greece, and Italy. He has the backing of CTAF, the United States Task Force, with its ballistic missiles, based at Verona in northern Italy, and the United States Sixth Fleet, based in Naples. The Forrestal, a ship with a nuclear punch and aircraft able to fly faster than sound, operates in the Mediterranean, backed by 3 Polaris submarines. Formation flying was not the least difficult of the exercises watched by the NATO party. The Forrestal is part of the United States Sixth Fleet, and this flying visit by Course 23 came near the end of their 2-week tour of the Mediterranean. One last stop before they returned to Paris, Rome. This is the Foro Italico, scene of the Rome Olympic Games of 1960, the Rome of the present day. This is Castel Sant'Angelo, a landmark of the Rome of the Middle Ages, and St. Peter's, the Church of the Vatican City, capital of the Roman Catholic world. Again over the Alps, this time flying north to Orly Airport. The family portrait, a picture which may adorn the fireplaces of 60 homes when the course is over. For Course 23 is drawing to its close, and VIPs, both military and civilian, come to the NATO Defense College for the graduation ceremony. A platoon of Garde Républicaine provides a guard of honor. Each guest is welcomed and accompanied to the conference hall where the ceremony will take place. All the big names of NATO are present. The students sit side by side with the guests. On the rostrum, General de Martino and Ambassador Alessandrini of Italy. The ambassador makes the closing speech and presents the diplomas. The presentation ceremony is short. Each man will remember the college motto, know yourselves well, know your enemies well, be sincere friends to each other. This is a new international society. Everyone who attends these courses adapts himself to a new environment, a challenging new problem. They won't forget the Defense College in a hurry. And what about our four friends? They have met and have parted for the last time. They may meet again in Norfolk or in Naples, in Athens, or, why not, in Paris. They part determined to shoulder their responsibilities in this unique venture which is NATO.